The year was 1970. The war in Laos had been raging, growing fiercer with every season. The jungles, once filled with the sounds of nature, now shook with the constant drum of helicopters and the crack of gunfire. The North Vietnamese had started using light tanks, carving paths through Hmong territory, sneaking along hidden trails to surround our villages before anyone even knew they were near. That year, they pushed hard through the valleys of Muzam and Cab Came, their sights set on the ridgeline of Thoob Haim. From our headquarters in Longcheng, General Vang Pao and his advisors gave the order. Units of Hmong soldiers, my unit included, were to climb into the highlands and stop those tanks. Our commander was Major Chongneng Doj, a man respected by everyone. He was stationed at Rub Yuab Kib and known for his sharp mind and an almost unnatural calm, even in the heart of battle. Under his command, we boarded the helicopters, the yuav, as we called them. We were flying toward Thoob Haim. The choppers didn't set us down on the exposed rocky plateau. That would have been a death sentence. Instead, they dropped us in a field surrounded by tall, wild grass and thick jungle. The place felt abandoned, like no human had ever set foot there. As the sky began to dim, the helicopters lifted away, their blades beating a retreat against the air, and then silence, a heavy, waiting silence fell over us. Major Chongneng Doj's first order was simple and direct. Dig in, make your foxholes deep, we will hold this road. We grabbed our shovels and went to work, tearing at the earth as the last rays of sunlight disappeared. The work was hard, noisy, and frantic. We didn't know it then, but enemy scouts had already seen us land. The North Vietnamese were on their way. It wasn't long before the forest itself seemed to grow uneasy. A faint clanking of metal drifted through the trees. Then a sharp, distinct metallic sound, an enemy signal. "They're here," whispered Pub, one of our officers, as he inspected our positions. "Dig faster, stay low." Two young Hmong soldiers were posted as lookouts along the road. Their rifles were steady, but you could almost hear their hearts pounding in the quiet. Suddenly, the night shattered, a sharp crack of M16s. The enemy patrol had found us. Then came the thunder. Artillery shells roared from the opposite ridge, shaking the very ground beneath our feet. Boom! Dirt and smoke erupted into the air, the sky glowing an eerie, hellish orange. The North Vietnamese had unleashed their heavy guns. Down, stay in your holes. Voices screamed. We saw the two lookouts sprinting back through the jungle. But before they could reach the safety of our lines, explosions tore the earth apart right where they were. Both boys fell, killed instantly. We huddled deeper into our foxholes as shrapnel hissed over our heads like angry wasps. I saw a soldier leap up to return fire, only to be thrown back by another blast. In just minutes, 4 of our men were dead or dying. Through it all, Major Chongneng Doj remained steady. He ordered 6 soldiers to carry the bodies of our fallen comrades up the ridge and 10 others to guard the lower forest. We would not retreat. That night, I shared a foxhole with another soldier, a quiet man who wasn't ashamed to admit he was afraid. We took turns on watch. I fell asleep while he stood guard, then woke to relieve him so he could rest. We spent those long, dark hours listening. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves made our hands grip our rifles tighter. At dawn, the familiar chop, chop, chop of the helicopters returned. They came to carry away the bodies of our fallen brothers, leaving us behind to hold our ground. 2 long days passed in a state of tense. Waiting, we just stared into the shadows of the trees, expecting an attack at any moment. But no enemy came. Finally, Major Chongneng Doj sent our 2nd platoon to scout the ridges toward the French mountain to see if the enemy had pulled back. For a brief moment, we felt a flicker of hope, but in war, hope is a fragile thing. On the 3rd night, a new sound rolled through the jungle. It was deeper, heavier than footsteps. A grinding, clanking, rumbling noise. Tanks. Two light tanks emerged from the trees, their cannons pointed right at us. One fired at our mortar positions, blowing a massive crater into the earth and filling the air with smoke. The other tank rolled closer, its machine guns raking our trenches with terrifying accuracy. Our men fired back with bazookas. One shot was true, striking a tank and disabling it in a fiery explosion. A few cheers rose up, but the victory was short-lived. The second tank pressed forward, its guns hammering our second platoon. Bullets and shells tore through the underbrush. The men holding the lower road couldn't take the pressure. They broke and fled toward the French mountain. Major Chongneng Doj commanded us to pull back 200 meters. We moved as fast as we could through mud and blood, and then came the order that saved us all, called the T-28. Soon, the roar of propellers filled the valley. T-28 bombers swept overhead, flying low and fast. We heard a whistle fall from the sky, followed by a deafening boom. The earth shook as the planes rained bombs down on the tanks and the jungle around them. Fire leaped into the sky, engulfing the enemy armor in smoke and flames. When silence finally returned, the battlefield was unrecognizable. Trees were shattered, the ground torn apart. We cautiously climbed out of our positions and surveyed the wreckage. We found 2 enemy soldiers lying dead near the destroyed tank. For now, the valley was ours again. Major Chongneng Doj radioed General Van Kao with the report. The order came back quickly. Returned to Longcheng. We gathered our wounded, carried the heavy memory of our fallen, and began the long trek back. That battle at Thoob Haim was just one of many in those long years of war. We lost brothers, we gained scars, but we held those ridges. Every night spent in that jungle taught us the true price of survival and the immense cost of freedom. And though the war raged on, the story of that night, the rumble of tanks, the roar of the T-28 has never left me. It was the sound of courage and of loss, a sound that echoes forever in the mountains of Laos. Thank you for listening to this story. These are the memories of those who fought in a war that is too often forgotten. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more accounts from history. We'll see you next time.